Friends, today we're going to have my cousin Push Agarwal, who's going to share something very, very interesting with us. Obviously, I've known Push all his life because he's younger than me. He's one of those people who's converted his childhood passion of flying right from paper planes to aero models into his profession. He became a pilot at a very young age and became one of the youngest deputy chief officers at deputy chief pilots at Jet Airways. But I think the thing that I love about Push is that you'll experience he's got this very relaxed, easy kind of a style, and he loves teaching. It's his passion to teach people how to think and to take decisions better. And at Jet Airways, while he was flying, he volunteered to take on teaching roles and as a voluntary project. And it's that he says it's that voluntary work that helped him to really understand Jet Airways better and rise the corporate ladder. So Kush is going to he spent a lot of time managing time, not only for himself but for many other people, and he has discovered some interesting simple hacks to be able to use and to be able to plan ourselves better and manage our time better. So Kush, over to you.
Thank you so much for such a nice intro. And this is just a little glimpse into a system that I've come across. It's not unique in the sense that there's a lot of these systems out there, but I've tried to make it into a very simple, bite-sized, digestible module for today. And I hope that you enjoy it. Just a few things about this session. I think Antebhi has already introduced me, so I'm not going to do that again. I couldn't have had a nice introduction. Why this session is important, what's in it for me, what's in it for you, for us, is that when one is organized, it means that we are able to overcome hindrances that keep us from doing what we need to do. And I think in the current generation, that's one of the things that we are most it holds us back, or it makes us feel dissatisfied. And we're in a generation where there's a lot that comes at us all the time. So, that's something that, sorry, I'm just going to change the video. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I think this might be easier, and I will turn this.
It's okay.
Yeah. Is that better now?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why this is important, and becoming organized is a state of mind. It's not really very difficult skill that comes with practice. I'm not perfect at it, but I'd just like to take a few minutes to share, what I've learned over a period of time. Now, in terms of how we'll run this session, I know there are certain limitations doing this online, and forgive me if I make some small mistakes. I'm not very used to doing online sessions, but feel free to interrupt me. I may not look at the chat, so if there's something that you want to, really ask about, feel free to unmute your mic and interrupt me, and we'll try to go over that. It will probably be useful for everyone. And in any case, after the session is over, I'll take some questions so that, we can discuss. Rather than me taking questions, we can discuss some ideas about how this is working. And this will be about 20 minutes. So I hope you enjoy it. I'll start presenting now. Let me know once you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So, sorry. Now again, we do a video stop. This is getting a bit complicated. Okay, let's just keep going. So the session says making time with Google Calendar. We've picked Google Calendar because it's just a simple tool that's free and it's accessible to everyone. Most of us have a Google email account that we can use for Google Calendar, and most of our devices synchronize with this calendar. Now, we've picked the calendar because, it's a very underrated or misunderstood tool. People think a calendar is basically something where you make appointments with people. If I were to ask you, who's the most important person for you? One of the answers would be nice. Anybody who's willing to, speak up, I'm okay with that.
I think ever since I've come back home, my dog is one of the most important Uh,
You're,
my dog.
yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Like one of the.
Anyone else?
I think
Pareta?
it's family.
Your family is the most important, right?
Yes.
I can see Mukesh say his family. Someone will have their pet, someone their family, someone finds work very important. But the most important person is yourself. And if you're taking care of yourself, making time for yourself, yes, actually I can see that. And it's very important to have a concept of making an appointment with yourself to get things done, to be more productive, and also to be better with your family, your friends, your kids, whoever is important to you. Now, today we'll discuss something that I like to call the second creation. This is a concept that I've read about, and it's a very simple concept. We'll then go into scheduling or backlog. Some of you attended the session on Agile some time ago, and we talked about the concept of backlog there. So we'll touch upon how that ties in. We'll then go into the color of time, how managing your time, color coding, some of it helps. Then please don't miss me. It's a little section on what happens if you miss these slots. How to deal with that. And the last is, 3 is a collab. 3 is usually a crowd, but here we say it's a collab where we want you to be able to share your calendar and your time with the people and the things most important to you. So that's how this session will run. It'll take 20 minutes, like I mentioned before. So in terms of getting going, the second creation. What is the second creation? If I were to ask, when you think of an idea or something to do, where does the first creation of that idea take place? Any answers for that?
In the mind.
In the mind, yes, absolutely. In our imagination, our mind, we think about what we need to get done. This is important. It's very important to imagine or come up or think of what needs to get done. But what's most important is the second creation. Any ideas on what the second creation is?
Action.
Action? Before action. Action is important, but what about before action? Where do we create this
Maybe when we speak about it.
Perception.
Speak about it.
Perception
of the creation.
Perception.
Scheduling.
Scheduling it. Okay. Very nice. These are some concepts, but let's roll it back one step back. Maybe somebody said this. I'm not sure. The first creation happens in our heads.
Attitude.
Yeah. This we say.
Second creation is really what helps us get things done. Happens when we record the first creation. So what do I mean by when you record the first creation? It means that you either write it down, log it, note it, but it needs to be recorded. It is only then that the creation is valuable, because I have a million thoughts running through my head all the time. I think about doing this and doing that and getting it done. But the second creation is actually more important than the first one, because once you have done the second creation, you have committed yourself to actually trying to get something done. So a lot of people miss this out. We hold things in our head, and the second creation becomes extremely important in getting things done. Now, how would you actually record something? Any ideas on how you would record?
I would make a to-do list.
Very nice. You'd make a to-do list. Where would you make this to-do list?
On paper and pencil, with paper and pencil.
Sure, paper and pencil. Do you always have paper and pencil with you?
Or notes in the iPhone.
Evernote.
Notes in the iPhone. So I don't have a rule. There's only one rule about second creation. Your second creation has to be made with a tool that is with you all the time. That's the only condition. It could be a notebook. It could be like a pocket notebook. It could be a mobile phone app. Yeah, I can see Ruby were holding a mobile phone. It could be, today technology is so nice. We all have this fantastic device with us that is typically underused. So the only rule with the second creation, making the second creation is it has to be done in one system. It should not happen that some things you put in a notebook and some things you put in a mobile phone. Everything has to be at the same place. So the option is yours. You want to use a notebook, you want to use a mobile phone, or you want to use notepads. Okay, it's your choice, but the condition is only one. for today's demonstration, let's make a few notes on Google Keep. So let me know when you can see my Google Keep. And why I'm using Google Keep is it's free. It's tied to your Google account. Let me know once you can see it. Is it visible?
Yep.
Yes.
So Google Keep is really easy. You just type keep.google.com. And as long as you're logged in, it'll open up to this screen. There's also an app on Android and iOS for you to use Google Keep. Now, I want to take some ideas. Let's see anything that somebody needs to get done today. Give me some ideas of what needs to get done. Aditya Bhaiya, a task for this evening that you have in mind?
Lunch needs to be made.
Okay, make lunch. Super. Another one?
Arrange the table.
Arrange the table. Okay. Let's think of something which is more generative or...
Payments need to be made.
Super. Make
the
monthly,
slides for
let's say
tomorrow.
monthly payments. Sorry?
Create the slides for tomorrow.
Okay. Create slides for tomorrow.
Sort out official
let's-
papers.
Okay. This is the last one I'll take. Sort out official papers. What's interesting in Google Keep is you can actually add drawings, add an image or whatever you like, but it's also really easy to make them really quick, right? And the concept of this is I'm actually dumping whatever is required to be done. As I think about it on my mobile phone, I dump it here. It's like the backlog concept of the agile framework, you know. Don't worry about how many you make, just keep dumping it in there so that the second creation is complete, right? It's like your backlog list. So you make your second creation, it's done. Now, what do we do with this second creation? How do we move forward? Okay. So what happens with the second creation? Now, you know, a lot of us will come up with this backlog list, but how do we bring it to action? Somebody mentioned action is very important in the first creation. It's very important to create calendar blocks for the usable time in your day. Typically, we think of calendars being used only when we have a meeting. I'm suggesting that you use your calendar for your entire day. Okay, I'll give you an example of this. So we'll go into a Google Calendar. I'll just put a few rules down and then I'll take your help in creating these calendar blocks. So what we would do is when we look at our backlog list, we classify the logged items based on the time we expect to take in completing this item. It's an expectation, no hard and fast rule. Like if we said that create slides for a presentation, that's probably going to take a little bit more time than setting the table, right? Anything less than 10 minutes, we may not require, we typically don't require a specific block. Anything more than 10 minutes, we will assign it its own place in the calendar. Easy? Make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Don't forget to add time for fun stuff as well, right? Everything doesn't have to be in your backlog list. Even schedule some fun stuff like, you know, a timeout or, you know, some hobby or anything else that you need to do. So we'll jump back into the calendar. Let's see. This is what my calendar looks like for the coming week. Can you see this? So I still haven't planned Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but up till the 14th, I've got some blocks in place. You can see Explorathon features every day in my calendar for the next few days. And we'll build something similar with the items we've just put. So I'll swap into a new calendar, right? Let me know if you can see this. Sorry, I'm just going around a little bit. Let me arrange my screens. Can you see now on the right, we've got the list, and on the left, we've got the calendar. I don't even actually have to do the split screen. The beautiful thing about Google is I have Google Keep up here. So whatever I've logged is actually showing up here. Can you see this? Now, what we'll do is let's assign a time. Let's go into the next week. And I'll ask you guys. So when would you like to, someone gave sort out official papers. Choose a day and time when you'd like to sort out your official papers. Should we do this on Monday at 10 a.m.?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's say sort out official papers, right? This is an event. You can do an event or a reminder. I want this to happen on Monday at 9 a.m. So I could even just bump it here, and I can drag it up to 9 a.m. Okay. What else? Should we do our monthly payments after that?
Yep.
So we'll create a new event. We'll say make monthly payments, because I think this is going to take us a bit longer than 10 minutes. And we'll do this at from 10 to 10:30 a.m. Now, I may have something that I do every day. Can you give me an example of something you do every day?
Exercise.
Make
Very
lunch.
nice. Sorry, make lunch. Okay, let's do make lunch. So
Arrange.
let's assign ourselves a time.
Meditation.
Meditation, very nice. So we'll
Pranayam.
just come to meditation, exercise, and pranayam. I'll just come back to that. Let's do make lunch to start for starters. Let's say making lunch takes us an hour from 12:15 to 1:15. The interesting thing with this is I can actually, this screen is important. It looks intimidating, but it's actually quite easy. You see, I can make this repeat daily. Yeah. And I can actually save this. And I'm making lunch every day at 12:15. Now, if I want to change this around, I can actually move one around if I want, for this event or for all events. So I'll just do it for this event. Okay. Now I'll move forward. In this manner, everything that is here should ideally come into your schedule for the day. What about the schedule what about the items which are less than 10 minutes? So we typically make a separate block for that. So we say tackle backlog, and let's make this on the 13th, and I'll drag this up here, and since I don't have anything else, I'll make this a bit longer. So when I look at this, when I enter this block, the expectation is that I now open my Google Keep and I go through each item and I try to knock off as many items as I can in this block. So I'm allocating time for this. Some other things that I might actually add time for could be call Aditya.
So what
Right.
you're saying, Kush, is anything that takes more than 10 minutes, that should get scheduled
Yes.
straight away into the calendar. And all those little
Yes.
1 minute, 2 minute tasks, they can be bunched together as one block.
Yeah, they should go into this block. Everything that is small can be taken care of during this time of yours, but everything that's longer should get its own block. So I expect to talk to you for more than 10 minutes. I've got some really important stuff to discuss with you. So I've allocated a 1-hour chat with you, right? Why I'm showing you this is everything that you log doesn't have to be work related. You might actually log time like, hey, I actually enjoy it. This is not a great, I'm not a great role model here, but I like to play PUBG. Sorry, I do. Right?
That's awesome.
And I might just slot 30 minutes for PUBG here because I need to know when my PUBG time is. It's my little reward for being productive on Monday. Now, I also have a brother who likes to play PUBG, so I'll send him an invite for that little calendar slot, which I'll show you as we go forward. So this is coming back to our presentation. This is the concept. Create calendar blocks for the usable time in a day. Classify your logged items. Everything that is less than 10 minutes goes into this block. As in you tackle it during this block. Anything that is more than 10 minutes gets its own block. And make the blocks. Your calendar should look full. It should look something like this. I'm going to fill up this calendar even more as the week goes along. Right?
Even the diet you could include, right? Like morning, whatever time, because you need to be reminded many a times.
Sure.
I mean, that would be useful to me.
It's your choice. You can put in whatever you like in the calendar. Now, colors is very interesting. We have this theory where we talk about colors increasing comprehension and engagement by 80%. The beauty of these online calendars is, you can really add color to these things. There are again a few rules with color that we talk about. Rules, or call it, hacks. Pick colors for items based on your calendar based on the type of activity. So what are the types of activity? Meaning whether you are scheduling work, you're scheduling fun time, you're scheduling family time, you're scheduling, exercise time, and, choose your color like that. Try to stick to about 3 to 5 colors, not more than that. And this should be standardized, so it becomes easy for you. And finally, colors indicate the amount of time being spent on the type of activity. What this means is by simply looking at your calendar and the colors in it, you'll be able to tell that you're spending too much time working or maybe too much time playing. It just gives a very nice visual representation. It also makes your calendar more fun. So let's say sort out official work is not an official task. It's a personal task. It's not got anything to do with my work. So I make this color, whatever is personal, is green, right? And I close this. So I need to save this, sorry. Now everything that is green is personal. Call Aditya Bhaiya as a personal thing. It's for my own work or my own need that I need to do this. Make lunch is a essential item. It's something that has no, it's just something I got to do. I give the most boring colors to these. That's just me. It's up to you. So everything that is, can you see I can change the color for this event and all the following events in one shot. That's the beauty. I don't need to do it block by block. Every event that says make lunch, I can change the color in one go. So this becomes very easy. And I can see that most of my day is spent working. PUBG is of course fun time. So I'll change this to all my fun time is yellow time. So this is my fun time. I might add family time, which is also my fun time. And what I'll do here is I'll make it yellow. This is going to happen today, on Monday, from 3 to 4. I know this looks like I'm doing a lot. The calendar is very intuitive. It gets very easy when you're using it a lot and you can drag things around. It's really, really nice, very easy to use. Now I can see on Monday, some personal work, a little bit of office time, and the rest is fun time. So maybe I need to spend more time working. My wife may not agree, but maybe I need to spend more time working. Or on the other hand, I may find that everything's blue and I'm not giving enough time to family myself. So it becomes very easy to figure out what you're spending time on. Now, the last couple of things, I've seen a lot of people get stressed when they have a calendar and they're not being able to follow. Life, that's life. It's not always easy to, go by clockwork, literally, pun intended. So believe in this system. It's not rocket science, but don't get stressed. Have discipline. It becomes a habit over time, but don't stress. This is just it's a tool, right? As your day unfolds and if things change, feel free to rearrange calendar blocks. So what I mean by this is, in case I got busy at 10:30 and I couldn't finish my backlog items, maybe I can move this here. And what I'll do is I'll push my PUBG time further, or maybe I'll just knock it off. I'll just delete my PUBG time for today, right? I may also, for example, push family time out a little bit. And maybe if Aditya is free in the morning, I call him at 10:45. So don't stress too much about, things changing around. Rearrange calendar blocks as your day unfolds and, work with it. There's one suggestion. Typically, if you've not used your time to do something and your calendar block is sat there, don't delete it. This is just advice, and you can choose to do it the way you want. But what I mean to say is, suppose I actually didn't tackle my backlog items. I sat just looking at my computer screen and didn't get a lot done, right? I got caught by some article and I continue to read. I won't delete this. What I'll do is I will duplicate this. There's a duplicate button. I'll duplicate this and I'll place this on Tuesday, maybe in the first half of the day. Let's say at 11:30 a.m. and I save it there. So I can adjust this on Tuesday. The idea is that I want to be able to tell at the end of the week how much time I spent trying to tackle backlog items. It signifies to me whether I was efficient or not. If I've spent, more than 3 hours trying to prepare a sales proposal that should have taken me 30 minutes, I've had to allocate 3 blocks. It means I need to look at the process of how I prepare a sales proposal. It needs to be more efficient. So if I'm doing the same thing over and over again, it means I'm not being productive with my time. It's just an awareness thing. It's for me to say, buck up a little bit and focus on doing one thing at a time rather than getting drawn here or there. I struggle with this a lot. I get distracted all the time. So the calendar blocks try to keep me in focus. And when I don't do something, I just reschedule. And I know at the end of the week, I actually spent, 3 hours just trying to finish 4 slides, for example. Now, the last thing that I'll talk about today, the very beautiful thing about calendars in the Google system is you can collaborate using calendars. And it's become such a habit that the minute I fix up a meeting, whether it's with Aditya Bhaiya or someone else, I schedule a calendar block and I send the other person a calendar invite. So for example, I can schedule a calendar block and send an invite. I'll demonstrate that to you right now. Another thing that I can do is I can share my calendar, actually like broadcast my calendar. So if you guys want to look at what I'm doing over the next week, I have the settings here. You see these little 3 dots? Okay, I go here and I share my calendar. I say I want to make this available to the public. You see in calendar settings, access permissions. If I make this available to the public, it means someone can even Google search this. This might be an interesting feature for you if you're using the calendar to schedule public events. Like Ruby Bua, if you're going to have a show, an art show, and there are certain blocks. We all send out WhatsApp messages to people that we want, and a lot of people don't attend because they just forget. It's nicer if you send out a calendar block that goes into their calendar and their device automatically gives them an alert that 30 minutes from now there's a Zoom meeting. So you can share your calendar. Another way we use this is I used to log all my flight schedules. So the family knew which part of the world I was flying in at what time without having to give me a call or check on WhatsApp. The other thing you can do is you can simply share with a shareable link. So if I copy this link and I paste this in the chat, how do I open the chat? Yeah. So if I paste this into the chat, you should be able to add this to your Google Calendar. You can test this out and you'll be able to see all my appointments for the day. So for example, my wife and I share a calendar. I can see what she's up to. She can see what I'm up to. And then we can typically find some shared time. We can also share only a part. That's a good question. So very good question. Suppose I have a certain item I want to share. So I can actually share only this. So I can publish just this event from my calendar. I don't want to share my whole calendar, but I want to publish this event. So I can copy this and I send it to you guys, and you should be able to see this. This will require a little bit of practice, but it's actually very intuitive and very easy. I'll request, can you send me a calendar invite? Just hold on for 1 second. Okay. Now, the last thing I'll show you is scheduling meetings. So let's say we're having a meeting on Tuesday morning. I create a calendar event and I say meeting with enterprise. This is an event. I can now start to add people. So I can add Aditya J at aripa.com. I can add abc at gmail.com. And everybody who's added will get a calendar invite. Why this is very interesting is because they can actually respond, and you can see how many people are expected to attend your event. What's also very nice now in Google Calendars is you can actually add a Zoom meeting from right inside your calendar. So you see this, I can either do Hangouts, and I have another calendar which is got a Zoom account. So I can actually, make it a Zoom meeting. Can you see this? Right from within my calendar. That's very interesting because I can just click all the settings. And if I can then send you my Zoom meeting link. So this becomes a very, very simple way to get people on the same page, right? Now, this is the long and short of it, right? Why it's interesting or important to schedule meetings is because it just keeps everyone on the same page. There's times I've had to talk to Yusuf about something and I've missed the call, or someone else has missed, and it just making a calendar block, sharing it with each other, just brings everyone on the same page. It also helps you rearrange your day. Suppose I get a calendar invite. If I send this to Aditya Bhaiya, either he can respond to me by saying I don't have time right now, or he can accept it, or he can propose a new time to me. So it becomes very easy for us to schedule our time. To put this in a very simple way, before you buy something, do you check how much money you have? It's the same way with your calendar and scheduling events. Before you commit to something, whether it is spending time with somebody else or spending time on an item, you must check your calendar to ensure that you can commit the time. So when I commit to somebody that I will talk to them at 10 a.m., I first look at the calendar for Friday and say, do I have a free slot at 10 a.m.? If not, I will shift the calendar blocks around to make sure there is time to do that. Your time is very important, but so is everyone else's. So just like you check your wallet or your bank account before you commit money to buy something or spend it on somewhere, it has to become a habit that you check your time. Can you commit the time to something before you actually do that? Nihalika is asking about Zoom. That option is by default. As long as you're using the same Google account that is signed up with Zoom, the option is, it comes up by itself. So that's fundamentally how this system works. I'll do a small recap. I'll touch upon some very important things. The second creation in all this, the second creation is the most important. While I haven't had enough time to spend on that, second creation is the most important. You have to have a system where it comes onto a notebook, onto the Notes app in your onto your phone, or whether it comes into Google Keep. But if there is no second creation, odds are it won't happen. You won't do it. The second thing is, keep your scheduling simple. Don't get too complicated. Don't worry too much. Don't overthink it. The beauty of these calendars is you can always rearrange blocks. So adapt your system to suit your requirements. Color code it only as much as you need. No need to go crazy. At the same time, make it fun. Don't stress. It's just a system. Rearrange blocks. It's more for awareness. Accountability is a part of this, but it's not about accountability to stress yourself. It is awareness to make yourself better. And last one is bring others on board. That's commit your time only when you have it. Also respect other people's time. When you commit your time or commit a slot, make sure you keep it. I used to struggle with this, and it's something that I'm trying to really work hard on. So that's how it works. It's very simple. Sorry, I'm just going to go back to one thing because I missed that when that question came up. Somebody talked about meditation and pranayam and things like that. Google Calendar has a very nice feature on the mobile app. It's not available on the desktop, but what it does is when you press the create button, I'll describe it and you can try it out for yourself. It allows you to choose goals or events. So if you choose a goal like I want to meditate 3 times a day, it's so smart that it will look at your week and find 3 slots for you to do a 30-minute meditation segment. So try that out. It's a little bit fun, and it's a very nice feature that Google has come up with. So you can schedule it yourself, but you can also try to let it find a slot.
Just repeat how it is done, Kush, please.
If you don't mind spending a couple of minutes more, I will try to show it to you.
Okay, that will be great.
Yeah, let me just see if I can show it to you. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep, can see it.
Okay. So if you see the little plus sign on the bottom, if I press this, it allows me to pick a goal. Yeah. So if I pick a goal, it will ask me what type of goal I want. Now let's say I want to exercise. I want to do yoga. I want to do this 3 times a week for 30 minutes at a go in the first half of the day. Okay. And I click yes. It's not trying to find time for my goal.
Amazing.
It's amazing. And it uses some amount of machine learning to figure out. Now, if you see my calendar, it's asking me on the bottom, is this fine or do I need to adjust the time? Right. So I say this looks fine. And my yoga has come once here. So once on Monday, the 13th at 8 a.m., 15th at 8 a.m. And then again on Saturday, because it didn't find time on Thursday and Friday in the morning. So then scheduled it on Saturday.
Shifted your 8 a.m. thing also.
And it's also shifted one of my 8 on Saturday. It's shifted my planning of the day forward to 8:30 because it kind of decides for me that, you know, Saturday is not that important. It's a weekend. So maybe you can plan your day 30 minutes later. So it's quite an amazing tool. And this is Google Calendar and Google Keep. They're both free. It's a lot of fun to play around with and figure it out. But just remember the simple rules. The second creation is important. You know, everything needs a calendar block. Anything more than 10 minutes requires its own block. Less than 10 minutes can go into a standard block. And other than that, color coded, have fun with it, and keep it simple. Rearrange it if you need. So that's about the end of it. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them. Otherwise, most happy to discuss and understand how you guys would like to use this. Also, I think Aditya Bhaiya has a task for you guys, a fun task for you guys to do. Thank you so much for listening.
You truly make it look like a game, Kush. It almost feels like a video game. You made it sound so simple and so friendly. But I know that when we get down to it, it's not necessarily going to be that simple. I think for me, what very important was that any task that takes more than 10 minutes, instead of just keeping it in my to-do list, I'm going to straight away put it in my calendar, because ultimately to get it's going to require some time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You can actually use Google Calendar as a to-do list, as a kind of an action planner.
Correct.
And you know,
it's really empowering.
Yeah. And I can imagine it giving so much of satisfaction sitting and making these calendars. And I've spent sometimes like long times planning my week and planning the calendars, and then landing up 1 week, looking back and realizing, oh God, nothing happened.
Right.
So I think while we calendars, it's also kind of important to go and do that. And
yeah,
you know, just to give you guys an example, probably which got Kush where he's at, we threw this idea with him and just yesterday afternoon about doing a session on managing time and using Google Calendar more powerfully. And then we spoke at 9 o'clock last night, and he immediately got the whole flow, and he said, I'll send you the slides tonight itself. And this morning when I woke up and I looked at my email at 2:40 at night, I had the entire presentation and the session flow minute to minute from Kush. So I think it's about making the calendar and also then getting it done. Thanks, Kush, for a fabulous.
Thank you so much. Absolute pleasure. And
if we have some questions, it'll be great if you share them on the group, and then we'll get Kush to answer them. We were thinking, you know, what can we do as a little to get our hands a little dirty or clean with Google Calendar. And we thought that, you know, in these times of lockdown, one of the things that we miss is family. Hug them and enjoy that physical proximity. It's cool to and chat with family. But I think it'll be pretty interesting if we were to kind of schedule time to speak to an old friend or a family member who you haven't spoken to a long time. It might be interesting to kind of get their email ID, open Google Calendar, and send them an invite. Maybe for a chat over a coffee or a chai pe charcha, or tell them to get a packet of chips out and schedule that. It's a very interesting thing to be able to schedule just a half an hour or a 15-minute chilled out conversation with someone. I think what it does is, let's say if I schedule a chat with Kush tomorrow for 8 o'clock, the rest of the day, my subconscious mind is thinking about Kush and some ideas are coming up, and I'm kind of mentally in a very different space by the time I'm ready to talk to him. So here's a little project idea which I'm going to experiment with, is to think of 3 people who I haven't connected with in a long time and I really would like to. I'm going to get their email ID, send them a Google Calendar invite, schedule that on my Google Calendar. Probably even write a little note over there, let's talk about a few of these things. We've not spoken about these things, or let's just ramble on, whatever it is. And I'm going to share a screenshot of these 3 invitations with all of us on the group. So see if you want to just experiment with something like that and scheduling a few things just over today and tomorrow using your Google Calendar app.